I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
And a happy Sunday fun day to everybody out there. Scott Duff here along with Ellen Miller.
Reporting for duty.
Hello, welcome down to Chicago, everybody. Great to have you here. It's a beautiful day. And we've got a beautiful show filled with beautiful, beautiful human beings. I often say, when in doubt, ask a drag queen.
Yeah, absolutely.
But on her show, Amber Live, it's drag legend Amber LeMay who asks the questions. And now we're going to be turning some tables and be asking her some questions.
Let's do
We're
it.
super duper excited about her fabulous career and that she's here right now. Amber LeMay, welcome to Out Chicago.
Hello from my basement here in the old north end of Burlington, Vermont.
We're so happy to be in your basement. That's all I can say. I'm so happy. Wonderful to meet you. I got a question. How did Amber come about?
Well, first of all, it's a small world, and you were talking about the Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah.
Back in 1988, my drag king character, Bob Bolliard, portrayed Rooster in a production of Annie. In that cast was an orphan by the name of Kate Weatherhead, who wrote the book for The Devil Wears Prada.
No way.
And 10 years later, in 98, Bob portrayed Bert Healy, and one of the orphans was Shana Taub, who writes the lyrics for The Devil Wears Prada.
Oh my gosh, the two of us, we are responsible for this entire new musical, aren't we?
Unbelievable.
Give Elton my number, please.
We will when we see him next week.
I know, we will. So how have you been? First of all, you have been performing for years, but where did Amber? What was the birth of Amber LeMay?
Well, this was 30-some years ago. My friend Mike Hayes and I, we like to perform. And we were part of this co-ed group that raised money for Vermont Cares. But we would perform as openly gay men. But you know what? There really wasn't an audience for that. And we went to a local drag show here in Burlington, and there was one drag queen who was kind of, she was from the fairy type of drag queen. And then there was the other who wore bad dresses, bad wigs, and sang off-key. And the audience loved both of them. And Mike and I looked at each other and said, we could do that. And he says, I can sew. And I said, I can write material, and we both can sing. Let's do it. And so we started the Sisters LeMay, and then we were having so much fun doing our shows that people said, hey, can we have fun with you? And so we kind of grew and added characters, and we became the House of LeMay.
Every drag legacy needs a good house. So thank goodness we've got the House of LeMay out there paving the way. Yeah. But I'm going to... Okay, I don't know why I'm obsessed with this or fixating on it. What is it like to do drag in Vermont? Because when you think, drag shows and drag queens, you think larger urban areas. You don't necessarily go towards the beautiful, I love Burlington, Vermont. It is so beautiful there. That isn't the first thing that pops into your head. So what is the drag scene like there, and how has it evolved?
Well, you know what? We're everywhere.
I know.
Of course you are.
I love it.
Well, for a while we started Cherry and Yolanda, the ones I mentioned earlier, were the basic drag scene, and then we came along, and then others started just doing it because, as I said, we were having fun, and they wanted to have fun as well. And so we only had one gay bar at the time, but Burlington's the type of town that I can go into any bar in this town, and usually my drink is on the bar before I get there.
Nice.
That's a lot of things. Wait, either that one, I'm well known, or two, I drink a lot, and I think that both are true. But it has grown, and especially with the of course, RuPaul. We can blame everything on RuPaul. But that show has brought in a whole new generation of drag and a different style of drag as well. Whereas Marguerite and I and the House of LeMay, we're just old showgirls,
Yeah.
Show.
Well,
We aren't female illusionists. We aren't really female impressionists. We're just characters, and we're more of an actor than an
illusion.
illusion.
It sounds like Burlington was just ripe for the picking to have more, some more drag performers, and you filled the void. And you've been obviously, the drinks on the bar, so people are excited and happy to have you there.
Yeah, over the years, we've hosted the Winters of Drag Ball, which has raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for AIDS. It's the biggest event in the winter. Usually 1,000 people attend. I have 100 performers performing throughout the night on 2 stages, and it's just it's a great night. We have fun. But the pandemic changed a lot of things, and so I my gears a little bit.
So, well, speaking of the pandemic, wasn't it because of the pandemic that the creation of your streaming show Amber Live came about?
Yes. Burlington shut down on March 16th of that year, and on March 2nd, I had my first show because I was already bored, and I called up my friend Russell Dreher in New York, and I said, "How do I go about doing something live on Facebook?" And he gave me the instructions, and so for the first 3 or 4 weeks, it was just me sitting in my living room with my laptop on my lap. It was bouncing up and down, and with poor lighting, and I would just mainly talk. And Russell said, we could do more with this. And so he gave me advice on lighting and sound, and I created a set, and we started getting guests. And the first couple of guests were basically local people talking about the pandemic, what were bars doing, what were performers doing, how could people help each other. It was just a way of communicating during that dark, dark time. And since then, it's just grown into something I think we're like 112 episodes. We've taken very few weeks off. And it's just been a great experience for me.
And it sounds like you've had some great guests. John Fetterman, who's running, of course, for governor in your state.
Oh my God!
I mean, not in your state, in Pennsylvania, rather. You've had Fetterman on. How was he as a guest?
Oh my gosh, he is something else. We need more of John Fetterman, more John Fettermans. And his wife was a hoot as well. And then we also had Hal Sparks on that show. And Hal Sparks and Mrs. Fetterman got into a great conversation about Pittsburgh. They both had an affinity for Pittsburgh. It was just a great show. The show lasted, I think it was like an hour and 20 minutes. We're usually just an hour, but we were having so much fun.
Nice.
We've had a lot of Chicago guests too. Thanks to our good friend Dwayne Scott Sioni at the Broadway Antique Market. He's turned us on to Owen Keane, who's, oh my God, the history of Chicago.
Oh yeah. We're friends with Owen. Yes, he's a great writer. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Tracy! I spent a whole hour with Tracy, and that was just illuminating. And then David Serta, he's David Serta.
Girl, we know David. He's a friend of the show.
You gotta buckle up when you're talking to David Serta right there. And then also, and Tracy Baim, who you were talking about, who is just a force of nature and an agent of change. She really is an incredible human being. So you went the transformation of just going from, hey, everybody, I'm on Facebook Live. Let's talk about what we can do to help each other out. And then expanding your reach to include, LGBTQ historians, publishers, journalists, political figures. What was your hope that when you decided to kind of expand your mission and your view with your show Amber Live?
Well, I'm a naturally curious person, so a lot of it I do it for myself. I consider them. I don't consider them interviews. I consider them conversations. Yeah. And if people want to eavesdrop on my conversation, that's more power to them. I like that.
Good way to think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so because you have what 100 plus episodes that are already in the can. What what are some of the episodes that have really stood out for you, especially when it comes to telling LGBTQ stories and preserving our history?
Well, a couple months ago, we got the honor to talk to Charles Bush.
Oh, wow.
on a Saturday afternoon recording the interview. He couldn't have been more gracious, telling about his history and his life. And then I traveled down to New York City, and Russell, my producer, and I went to meet Charles in his apartment. Oh my gosh! Google his apartment.
I can only just to interrupt you really quickly. Some of our listeners might not know Charles Bush is oh gosh, he is. How would you describe Charles Bush? He is a playwright, on the edge, counterculture, drag. Like I'm missing everything. Amber, how would you describe Charles Bush?
Actor, screenwriter.
Yeah, he does everything.
He's just done so many things, just outer edges, but he just seeps into general community. That was fascinating talking to him. And again, we got to go down and have lunch with him, and that was a good thing. Oh, Carol Baskin from The Lion King. Oh my God. She was a character to talk to. And they say, well, do you think she did it? Well, she's either totally innocent or the best pathological liar you'll ever meet.
Right.
Definitely convinced me. Francois Clemens, Officer Clemens from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, he lives here in Vermont, and he's been on the show many. Just the great stories and what a warm human being he is. We have the drag queens. Sure, I've had drag queens from RuPaul's Drag Race. I've had Charlie Hides, Mrs. Kasha Davis, Miss Richfield, Tammy Brown, Sherry Vine, Miss Conception. They're always fun to talk to and get their views on drag as well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, but there's something about that I think that we've been trying to do for the last couple 8 years or so with this show, and about what you're doing is really about engaging our audiences in terms of not only the histories and the stories and experiences of queer folks, but also to like looking towards the importance of queer voices when it comes to politics and when it comes to current issues. Do you feel this sort of responsibility of helping get the queer community out to vote or more engaged in what's going on here? And what issues stand out for you, as somebody who's like you've had political candidates and people who hold office on your show? What's in it for you as like some major issues as we approach the midterms, which are coming up?
Well, I take my voice very seriously.
Yeah.
Yes, I like fun and camp and make fun, but I also take my voice seriously. That I do have an opportunity to voice things. Around 15 years ago, we created the League of Drag Queen Voters. And our mission was to encourage people to go in that voting booth, pull the curtain, and do what comes naturally, vote. And our motto is, don't blow it, vote. And so we don't back any candidate specifically. We just want people to get out there and vote. And last November we had a special Get Out to Vote show that we had candidates on, and someone from the actual League of Women Voters, and that was good as well. But no, I just think people have to be active, especially in this time coming up, because if you look at all the laws that are being passed or proposed that are going against our community, where we thought had it made, we don't. And here in Vermont, I'm very, very safe. But I know my friends in Florida, in Pennsylvania, Arizona, they aren't. They could be severely, they could suffer severely after the elections, depending on who gets out there and votes. And so we have to make aware that people do have a choice.
That's for sure.
Yeah. So as we are moving towards these elections, and you are continuing with the streaming show Amber Live, do you have any future guests that you can tease for us, like that are going to be coming on? Are you dealing more politics, or are you trying to keep things light and go with more with the entertainment industry?
We'll throw in the politicians. Very excited. We have a great congressional race here in Vermont. We will be sending a woman for the first time as a representative to Washington, and one of them is an openly out woman who is the Speaker of the President Pro Tem of the Senate, and she's promised to be on the show if she wins the primary, which I believe she will.
Excellent.
Reaching out. I had Brian Sims on. Are you familiar with Brian Sims? He was one of the very few openly gay representatives in Pennsylvania.
Right.
And the things that he has worked at. And he ran unsuccessfully for lieutenant governor. But I think we're going to hear a lot more from Brian Sims in the future. At least I hope so.
Well, Amber LeMay, you are just an absolute delight. I'm so happy that we were able to meet and have this conversation. Where can folks check out your fabulous show, Amber Live?
Well, we have our own YouTube channel, which has over 70 or 700 either full shows or clips or in some other special items. That's on YouTube at Amber Live. And then amberlive.tv. It tells more about our story, and we have some merchandise and some other items there on amberlive.tv, and then on YouTube, Amber Live. So just Google me, and you're going to be for a while.
I love that, Amber, and I really love to find a fellow person out there who is trying to entertain as well as inform and inspire folks, and I just think it's great what you do for Vermont and for helping to spread the word out for the entire country. So thank you for your service, is what I shall say.
Well, thank you very much, and you can come into my basement anytime.
Oh,
Ooh,
goodness!
I heard that.
Don't make that offer, because leafer peeper season is coming up, and I will get my butt to Vermont just to cozy up in a basement with you, Amber LeMay. So wonderful. Again, if you want to check out Amber's show, you can find the channel on YouTube. It's Amber Live, or you can go to amberlive.tv to get all of the content to satisfy all of your Amber LeMay needs. Amber LeMay, thank you so much for joining us today, and have a wonderful Sunday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All righty, we have got to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is the final thrilling show-stopping moments about Chicago right here on WCPT.